Midnight's Edge presents Real Boneheads of Cinema.
Real Boneheads of Cinema.
Today we salute you, Alex Kurtzman.
You cultural fucking locust.
You've taken a beloved 50-year-old science fiction franchise and completely destroyed it.
Oh, it didn't live long and prosper.
Likeable characters? Who needs them when we've got Mikey Spock?
She's just a plank of wood.
So pour a cold beer and celebrate a special kind of stupidity that ruins Star Trek forever.
How's the Dark Universe going?
How does sonar and space work? If I know, as long as it sounds good, who cares?
You idiot, there's no sound in space.
That $25 million CBS contract sure is getting its money's worth, isn't it?
Oh, how you got ripped off.
We salute you, Alex Kurtzman, because failing upward is still a thing in Hollywood.
Sheer fucking hubris from a real bonehead of cinema. Our new tribute to the lovely, lovely boneheads of cinema. That's our first one right there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Welcome to Midnight's Edge. I'm Tom Connors. With me, of course, is the boss man himself, Andre. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Back again from Spain amid this pandemic and everything. So, yeah, everything good.
And remember the super chat, folks, because I'm sure the YouTube bots are not going to like that video being up front. Right, Rob?
I'm pretty sure they won't.
Sheer effing hubris. We got some special guests with us today. We have the historian, author, Stephen Walton. Hello, sir.
Hello and hail everybody in the chat. Thank you for coming. Please hit the share and the like for Midnight's Edge. Appreciate seeing you guys. Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. We got some great news to talk about you today as well. Comics Division, welcome. You may recognize him from Friday Night Tights, of course. He also has his own channel, so do check that out, correct?
Yes. And that's a joke from Rob, by the way.
I know.
I got to give Rob shit. Rob's a great guy. How's it going, everyone?
How are we doing?
He's talking about me, isn't he?
Yes, I am.
And also with us is John F. Trent from Bounding Into Comics, one of the best news sources on the internet.
Hey, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. It's a nice, beautiful Saturday afternoon.
It is evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it is where you're at. We want to thank you for joining us here on Midnight's Edge. We got a lot to talk about. Been an interesting week in the world of comics and Comic-Con and movies. Yeah. So, Andre, did you see the new Bill and Ted trailer?
I did. And
you weren't a big fan of the first one. What did you think of this one?
I liked it more than the first one.
Well, that's an improvement. Now, of course, this one, this movie now has been pushed to September 1st. But interestingly enough, you'll be able to see it on both digital and select cinemas. And yeah, Script Doctor's in the chat. He unfortunately can't join us today. We got a couple super chats already. Lee Jordan says the $4.99 for that opening song. It was nice. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And 16-Bit Mascot says $3.50 for the excellent Boneheads of Cinema song. Oh yes, we've got a whole slew of those we're planning on working.
So good.
Yes.
Well, Tom, I just looked this up. Actually, there's actually been another delay. Peter Jackson's Beatles documentary has been pushed back to August 27th, 2021.
I missed everything you just said because my headphones got unplugged by my cat.
I said, asshole.
That's why his name is Asshole.
Bad kitty.
Peter Jackson's Beatles documentary has been pushed back from September 4th, 2020 to August 27th, 2021.
Damn.
Yeah. Damn it. Oh, well.
What can you do?
What can you do? Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Is anybody else looking forward to Bill and Ted besides me?
I am.
I am.
I'm hoping for some nostalgia. You know, I enjoy the first ones a little bit more than I do Beavis and Butthead. You know, to be honest. So I am looking forward to seeing it because it'd be nice to see those characters again. And I'm also interested to seeing if they're woke or not. You know, if there's any.
That's the thing I'm worried about.
I don't think there will be that much. First of all, from the trailer, I didn't really see much. And then secondly, I'm pretty sure this is the script that's been around for a while. And I've been trying to get an interview with Ed Sullivan, the writer and creator of Bill and Ted, for a while here. I've been talking to him here and there, back and forth. And That's what I'm getting out of this is like this has been the same idea they've had for a while, and this was like a labor of love for everybody involved because I highly doubt Keanu got paid much to do it. And in fact, I think he's one of the producers and stuff like that. So
yeah, I would think you're right, Tom. I think it's just they, this is where they started. Well, for one of them, it's where they started and got a big career, and for the other one, it was, a big part of his culture probably. So I think it was a labor of love. I'm looking forward and just hoping for the best.
Yeah. What about you, John?
I'll be honest, I'm not really that big of a Bill and Ted fan. So
all right, we'll see you later.
You can join me in the back room.
Yeah, Andre's just like, I don't get it. I'm like, you had to be a kid in the 80s.
Yeah, you really did, man. I love the first two movies. I am perfectly fine with the franchise ending with the second movie because they basically sum up Bill and Ted's rise to, fame and, writing the song that saves the world. And this movie to me kind of undoes a lot of that. I gotta
correct people on this. The song that they sing in the second film is not the song.
No. That's not
that
what
is
I'm
the
talking
song
about.
that won them the Battle of the Bands.
Right. That's not what I'm talking about, though. The credit scene. If you stay through the credits, it goes through and sums everything up. And you had the death lip syncing scandal and all these things, and you see all the things where Bill and Ted go in a sin to that place of prominence and write the song to save the world. So
all right, I'll give you that.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the whole point of the second movie is them winning the Battle of the Bands to get to the position where they become famous.
Well, we get a kind of a setup here. It's like she says, like, since then you guys have not done anything, and if this is the same script from like 10 years ago, the script, the whole thing that happened is something happened in the future. That's why Rufus is gone, and somebody prevented them from doing what they were supposed to do.
Okay.
So like there's a whole setup as to something like there's another bad guy involved somewhere besides Denomalos or something like that that's trying to take him down.
My money's on the guy who says, "Get over this delusion. You're not rock stars. You didn't die and go to the afterlife."
That's their dad. That's Ted's dad.
I'm betting it's somebody.
No. Well, he might impersonate him, but no, like I'm sure it's somebody like Denomalos.
Well, you can tell how long it's been since I've seen the movie. So,
well, it's been almost 30 years since the last film. That's the thing. Yeah. 1993 or whatever, 92 or whatever I think it was, 91 somewhere in there is when Bill and Ted.
No, kind of hearing what you kind of put out there makes me feel a little better, but still, there's little things in there that do have me concerned. I do feel like they're obfuscating that the main characters of the film are not Bill and Ted, but their kids.
Oh no, Bill and Ted are still the main characters.
I hope so.
Here's the basis from what I know. Something happened in the future. They have to go fix it, and to do that, they have to sing that song at that specific moment on that fucking night, whatever, blah 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 blah, like they say in the trailer. And as you see, and they kept going, they get the idea. Oh, if we go steal the song from ourselves, then it'll be all done and over with, and whatever. That is either what screwed up the timeline or it's something else involved. And then when they do that, that's when they see themselves in jail. They keep going back and see different versions of themselves until they get it right. And then in the meantime, their daughters are putting a band together. So then the ending will probably be a lot like the end of the second film where we build up to this big thing with the band. And they'll have Death and all these other famous musicians from history playing with them.
If that's the case, I'm fine with it. I am, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic.
That's what their daughters are doing. They're doing like their daughters are having kind of an adventure like they did in the first film, while Bill and Ted are doing their own thing.
Yeah, so if that's the story, then I'm completely fine with it.
Because like then when they get to because we know Jimi Hendrix is one of the musicians and a few other ones, because when they announced the cast, Meccan are like, oh yeah, this is who this person's playing, and sure as shit when they put out who they were playing. Kid Cudi's playing what's his face? Jimi Hendrix, I think. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I know we talked way more about Bill and Ted than I wanted to, but I wanted to talk long enough about it to where we could let everybody file in before we got into the San Diego Comic-Con business. What were you say, Rob?
Oh yeah, well, I always love, because I'm so into music. I always love music related movies, but I mean, really, how much room do you have to go woke with something like this? I mean, if you go woke with it, it completely unravels, because it doesn't lend itself to that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, like Ed kind of said, and he's like, it's a movie about buddies, about these two guys, and it's about them learning how to be dads at the same time. So obviously it's about them. And I love that bit from the opening bit of the trailer. It's like, did you guys miss the idea of couples therapy? He's like, yeah, well, we're couples together.
That's something that they would do. Yeah.
That's exactly what Bill and Ted would do. Just like when they see their daughters in hell, it's like, okay, how the hell did their daughters get in hell? No, that's not the first question they ask. It's like, well, how are you doing?
How you doing?
Tom, we have a super chat from our good friend Mexican Iron. Oh, hey!
Thank you, Mexican Iron Man. We love you so much. It's been a while.
Mexican Iron. That is, by the way, his theme music has been approved by Mexican Iron Man. So,
yes, so we're not
Mexican
that
Iron
racist.
Man. Mexican Iron Man $9.99. Plot concept: Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure in Mexico, whereby the world is safe, except they land in a valley of zombies, all the while on a search for the perfect taco combo lunchbox.
You missed one thing though. They meet up with Cheech and Chong and find out that's their long lost uncles. And Greg Kirby says, daughters woke. That's how. Well, here's the thing. Ed said they always were daughters, and if you go back and look at the cast, it is girls.
Yeah,
the babies are girls. So,
and I actually think if they're going to go that route, it should be daughters because they were the boys. Let the girls have a turn.
Well, but still, little Bill, little Ted, Bill, Wilma, Wilhelmina, whatever. Little Ted. You can imagine Billy. Somebody call him Billy.
It's Billy and Tia. Yeah,
Billy and Tia. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Come on, those are like nicknames that a lot of times.
The misconception comes from the comic story. There was and I have the collection, but there's like a 12 or so issue comic that picked up where Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey left off, kind of. And they are boys in the comic, but Ed Sullivan and the other writer had nothing to do with those comics. And
they could have made it a little bit more clear in the movie because when I walked out of the theater, I thought they were boys.
I did too, but then when I watched it again, they're wearing like purple booties, as one of them's wearing, and like a pink, they're wearing more girlish colors. So it could be easily interpreted one way or the other. I don't think it really mattered at that time.
Yeah, at that age, there's not that big a difference.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of time too, whenever they kind of cast babies, sometimes they cast girls, regardless of the gender, because you really can't tell.
Well, also, I think it's important that, and I've said this a few times on my shows. I understand that there's, we got Hollywood and TV doing a lot of, and comics doing a lot of rate or gender swapping and stuff like that. So we can't let that stupidity stop us from being able to enjoy like a genuine presentation,
like Dune. Yeah, like everybody's jumping to conclusions right away. Where like Andre was trying to explain with Dune was like the gender swap doesn't mean anything, but then people are like, well then why do it? And like he explained, because this way, when you do it this way, it doesn't affect anything else, and you still get your woke points while still being able to make the story you want to make in the first place.
Yeah, like as long as the story is good.
Yeah. And yeah, in the case of Dune, is it gratuitous? Absolutely. But it gives them the necessary woke points, and it might get ahead of the counter story of white savior coming to save the brown people, which is one thing that they're terrified of behind the scenes with that one. So yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, if you guys ever decide to have Dune discussions, Nerd Cookies, her channel
Yeah, I
is all
actually
about
just reached
Dune.
out to her. We're having her on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Mead, so yeah, and I also told Andre to check out her channel as well. So she's definitely somebody we've been looking into.
Yeah, she's a good creator.
I have absolutely no opinions on Dune.
You and Rob both.
No, well, I actually have opinions on Dune. It's just
It's boring, yeah.
Channel.
I have a passing interest in Dune, and I enjoy the movie that came out a few decades ago. I didn't see the remake that came out on Sci-Fi Channel.
The Sci-Fi one was actually pretty good. I was never a huge Dune fan. I've had lots of friends that were really into it. And I enjoyed the series, and the whole thing, and the way friends have kind of told me about the whole thing. Shoot, I can't remember the name of the people that are on Arrakis, the sand people.
The Fremen.
Thank you. The Fremen were basically kind of like Palestinians. That was the way they were kind of described to me. So to actually make them darker skin makes absolute sense from an anthropological standpoint, because they're on a desert freaking planet. So yeah, their skin is going to be darker over time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's also not only that; it's
Living
also in the prequel novels that they are basically descendants of Buddha-Islamic refugees, which basically
Oh,
means
wow.
that they are ethnically they're like. You have like difference between like Persians and Arabs and stuff like that, but ethnically they belong to that general Middle Eastern
Right.
ethnicity is the accurate thing for the Fremen.
Yeah, and that's how it was described to me. So when they were showing pictures of the Fremen, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Well, one thing that I have enjoyed though from like listening to people like Nerd Cookies is finding out about there's a rich history for Dune, like that spans so many generations, and it's like, from what I understand, it's far ahead from Earth, like well, like humanity had already spread out to different planets and then did it again, and
It's between 20 and 30,000 years into the future.
Right. That's that's amazing to write in a world like that.
Yeah, so that's the really mind-blowing thing. It's just how far into the future it is.
Right.
Yeah, and this
And
movie's just the first book, because like if you go into the subsequent books, it goes even further into the future with his son.
Yeah.
And yet they don't use computers to do anything.
Yeah, that's deliberate. That's by choice.
I know.
And that's a consequence of the war against the machines.
Yeah, and I know like some people are like, just the fact that they're going for those woke points is enough for me, and I get that. I totally understand that, but this is a story, like you were saying, Andre, with a lot of the undertones, what it eventually is all about, how the women are involved in the society, what the overall story is. Changing that character into a woman in the overall scheme of things, I get where you're coming from with it being, more like compromise, as much of a compromise. And I get it. Some people are like, no compromise, no surrender kind of thing. But when you get to the true story of it, and considering what it's really about, as far as like, what's her face tricking, the Bene Gesserit witches when she's supposed to have a daughter, and the fact that she has a son at the behest because she loves her husband, or well, not even her husband, it's her lover.
We're talking about Jessica.
Yeah,
She's
Jessica, thank you.
She's
Concubine, yeah.
Concubine, yeah.
Yeah, she is a concubine on top of that. I mean, like, there's so many things in this to where I can understand where this little thing, it really, I know it's kind of like, but why? But you're also like, but I can see why at the grand scheme of the whole story.
I'm fine with certain things being changed to a point. I mean, a really good example of this is I Am Legend with Will Smith. First off, it's not a property that anyone really gives a shit about, to where that kind of change is going to drastically impact it. But also at that time period, Will Smith was probably one of the top tier actors of that time period.
Right.
So casting him as the main, they did the same thing with iRobot, and makes sense because he's a top tier draw. And it's the same thing that they did with Ghost in the Shell. But even though I strongly feel that Motoko should still remain Japanese, there are certain things I'm very diehard on, even when it comes to swapping a minority character for a white character. But again, they did it for the box office draw because ScarJo, it was again at the top of her career. So things like that, I understand why they do it, and I don't necessarily complain about it. But as a big fan of Ghost in the Shell, I do get kind of purist on stuff I really, really like. And any kind of deviation irks me to a degree.
No, and I get that. But as far as like with I Am Legend, my bigger problem wasn't with Will Smith. It was with the ending.
Yeah.
They released the original ending back on.
Yeah. That's all the producers.
Yeah, I know. That's a totally different conversation. SPDA 242 sends us, what is that?
That's Swedish krona. 25 Swedish krona.
All right. Hope for Dune vids from Boss Man. Well, Andre, what you got on the way?
I have good news. I have finished the second in the Legends of Dune trilogy. So I am right now, in this moment, writing up the review for it. I'm also writing the ultimate Dune retrospective of the 1984 movie. So that's going to be a blast.
Nice.
So you're going to have at least 2 Dune videos in the next couple of weeks.
There you go.
And probably you're going to get another one when they officially announce that the Dune movie is going to be delayed.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah. It's not official yet, but I don't think there's any way in hell that movie gets released in December.
We'll have to
Probably
see.
not.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if anything gets released in December. The way things are
Right.
going.
Garble the VS sends $5. You guys think we'll get the Lucas Abram cut of Episode 9, especially with how lackluster Rise of Skywalker was?
If we do, not for a decade or more.
Yeah.
I don't
Andre,
see it.
You want to take this one? I think you
Yeah,
don't
sure. I
probably-
just want to hear what the others of you think.
Oh, yeah, John. What do you think?
Yeah, John, what do you think?
Absolutely not. I think the fact that the Lucas treatments are locked up and we haven't seen those yet, I don't think we'll see a Lucas cut, if it exists, of Episode 9.
I think he's talking about the cut that would have been the alternate one before the one.
Yeah,
we
like
got.
the one of the alternate cuts that they were working on, because remember they were like working on multiple different iterations of the movie, and the one that we ultimately got in theaters wasn't the Lucas cut.
Right. Yeah, there supposedly was at least 3 cuts of the film, not talking about the endings, just talking about an entire rough cut of the film, which one had the notes from Lucas and a couple of reshoots that he had made notes for. The Abrams cut, which was then cut down to the version which we got in theaters.
Right.
I
I don't think you're going to see any of those.
I honestly think that Disney, Lucasfilm, or Lucasfilm in general would have to be in a very healthy place as far as its promotional value, its merchandising, its fan relationship. I think they would have to be in a very healthy place to have the confidence to say, hey, by the way, here's some extra stuff, and just release some of those scenes. So, like, honestly, it all depends on the health of the franchise moving forward over the next decade. So in my opinion, if any of that gets released, it won't be for at least 10 or more years, depending on how.
Yeah,
Not
Rob.
even that. It won't be released.
I don't see it. Yeah.
Rob, you got anything to add?
About this? No, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
that would be admitting they're wrong.
Well, I'm not going to try and steal too much of Andre's thunder here, but let's be clear that this is not anything like the Snyder Cut situation. Unless some company comes in and swoops in and buys Disney and we have a complete change of regime, nothing is going to change. You're not going to see this because all it would do is embarrass so many people. And I mean, there's still not even enough proof that there was technically a Lucas cut. So that's still a big, like, it could exist. It might not, all we know is he was around. We don't know how much he was actually involved.
Right.
All we have is just the rumors to go by, which, we've heard a few different ones. So, I mean, I'm not saying there's not.
But Tom,
yeah.
Kevin Smith cried.
Kevin Smith cries if the wind blows. Honestly, I'm sure Kevin Smith cries when they're out of milk at the store.
Pretty sure he cries when there's a bag blowing in the wind, all American Beauty style.
And he starts hearing that Katy Perry song. Oh, it's over. Starts to squirt.
Kevin
Okay,
Smith finds
Andre,
a
give it
name
to
now.
us.
Yeah, well, basically, I agree with most of you. I would say that in a normal situation, it would be 0% chance of an alternate cut ever being released. Like, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, not in 20 years. It would never be released. There would be 0 chance for an alternate cut. However, this is not a normal situation. So instead of saying that there's a 0% chance it'll be released, I'll say that because of Disney's on the verge of bankruptcy and there's going to be a change in regime and they can't really film anything, not right now, and who knows how long it's going to take to get productions up and going again, stuff like that. I think there's a solid 5% chance that we actually could be getting a Lucas cut release sooner than we think. And again, I would like to stress that when I say that there's a 5% chance that we will, I still mean that there's a 95% chance that we won't, that we'll never get to see it. But because they are in such a poor state financially, I'm not willing to rule anything out, because as you say, like, no, there doesn't have to come in an external company and change it, but they're desperate. The whole empire could collapse.
Right.
You'd have to have a lot of shit change, though. Like, Kathy would have to definitely be gone.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not going anywhere, Tom. You know that.
Don't make me get Frank.
Oh, the Lucas cut will be released of a rotting corpse. Isn't that right?
She should be
Isn't her
very
corpse
careful
already
with
rotting?
with what she's asking for, because because Disney and Bob Iger are getting kind of desperate right now.
I
So
made two mistakes. I made two mistakes in my life: Howard the Duck and giving KK that position.
Let's not drag Pope Bob Iger into this, okay?
No. I should have never, ever let her do what she did. Oh man, no. I that's the thing, is KK is the biggest thing standing in the way of everything. Because I'm sure Abrams would love if you got to see his extended cut, because then he'd get more money.
you know what? He has so much money already that a little bit more, like at his level, if he gets another,
No,
10 million
more of
here,
it's
another
more
10
like,
million
oh,
there,
look,
that's
see, I
really
tried to
not
make a
good.
good movie. That's what it would be. It's more for him to save face. There's too many leaks coming out of his camp that are trying to make JJ look like some kind of saint in this, to where, yeah, okay, when it comes to Rise of Skywalker, fine, I give you that, JJ. You couldn't do nothing. You sided with the fans in certain aspects, and you did whatever you did as far as flipping the bird to Rian Johnson, but it doesn't matter. He set us down this path to begin with. He's half the reason. I don't care what you say about anybody else. If he would have just said yes when it came to taking on the trilogy, it may have been still shitty, but it wouldn't have been this shitty. At least it would have been a coherent mess.
Absolutely.
At least it would have been, oh, well, it's three movies that are 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it may not have been agreeable as far as what happened in them, but we all would have been at least sitting here going, well, it would have been a little bit more of a debatable situation, and we wouldn't have lost half the audience.
Right now, it's 1, 1, and 2. I mean, you can easily you don't even have to watch The Last Jedi now. I mean, it's unreal but the whole thing is, like you said, it would have been at least it would have been a coherent mess, but it'd still be a mess though.
Well, yeah, you're not going to get away from the JJ-isms.
Yeah, the damage would have been mitigated to a certain extent. There would have been the whole, well, you know what, this sequel, this trilogy wasn't that good, but the next one will be better. Now, everything,
what we'd be saying?
Left.
We'd be saying the worst part of this trilogy was the first film was just a ripoff of Star Wars. I guarantee you, at this point, that would be the worst of our gripes. Besides, probably he would have done the speed jumping. That's a JJ-ism. That would have wound up somewhere in this trilogy. Other than that, I can't believe that he would. And they fly now. That's totally a JJ. As much as he doesn't want to take it,
terrible.
As much as he don't want to admit it.
Here's the thing, though. Here is where Disney, because you were talking about Disney going bankrupt, Andre. Here's the thing where Disney is now. And I watched a little bit of Rob Liefeld's thing on with IGN. He was slamming them for not using anything with Deadpool in the MCU. He said, I can't believe they have Deadpool just sitting there and they're not doing anything with them. There should be Deadpool cartoons. Where's the Deadpool movie? It's not even announced. I'm like, Rob, not Rob me, but other Rob Liefeld, you do realize he's a straight white male, and they're not going to do anything with another straight white male in the Marvel universe for a while.
Just that.
Yeah.
Andre, I would like to hear it. Well, go ahead and finish your other point. I'm sorry.
But the other thing too is, like I said, Lucasfilm also has all these not all these other assets, but yeah, they have other assets. They have Indiana Jones. We haven't seen anything with Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, we're never going to see an Indiana Jones movie.
I'm fine with that. I am absolutely fine with that.
I am completely fine with that. But there was that demo reel that somebody made of the Indiana Jones animated series. Why can't we get something like that? There are things they can do to sort of mitigate their losses, and they're not doing them. They put all their eggs into the Star Wars basket on this, at least on this side. Marvel was going before Disney came into the picture. So let's not even talk about that for a second, okay?
Well,
but now they put all their eggs in the Star Wars basket, and they've bungled that. Now it's back to the drawing board. Now it's like, oh shit, what do we do now? I gotta believe that there is a large amount of panic. There's a lot of finger pointing, a large amount of panic, as we've always said, behind the scenes, and everybody is just so entrenched at Lucasfilm and at Disney by extension that they can't do anything. That any move they make is going to be wrong because there's going to be pushback on all sides. Bob's not going to like what Kathy does. Kathy's not going to like what Bob does. and everybody else is just caught in the middle. So the best thing the best plan they can come up with right now is to do nothing.
Well, it's not just that though, because here's the thing: that Star Wars is just a tiny, tiny little thing of Disney as a whole, and that they are on the verge of bankruptcy right now. That has very little to do with Star Wars. Like if you see, look, Marvel has been like a license to print money for them, but they can't do shit with Marvel right now either, because they can't get the movies that they have done into theaters, and they can't start anything new. And who knows when they will be able to. And what's really doing them in is the parks. That basically their entire operation is dependent on people doing something with other people, whether going to a park or going to a cinema or something like that. That's what their entire business model rides on. And now they can't do that. Their entire business model suddenly got like cut off at the knees.
It's a social industry. That's probably the best way you can describe it. It's a social industry. It's contingent upon people getting together and doing stuff with each other. And
exactly. Or people don't necessarily have to do it with each other, but they have to be in the company of others. And then the age of social distancing, that's really bad for business.
Oh yeah.
Well, and as far as Liefeld goes on the whole Deadpool thing, this is what I was going to say. I don't know what you know about this, Andre, but I've heard that he really doesn't know what the hell's going on until decisions are made, kind of.
No, of course he doesn't.
He likes to talk a lot of talk, but here's the thing. With the animated series, I heard it was between the fact that A, it wasn't far enough into production when Fox took over, and B, I got to imagine that Bob and the crew over at Marvel were like look, Deadpool is successful. We don't want to mess with it. And Bob has already said he doesn't plan on messing with Deadpool. And I think what they're trying to do is keep that as like its own separate thing. And having a cartoon based on Deadpool sends the wrong message. It sends the message that this is a movie for kids. I guarantee you we're going to get a Deadpool 3 because Ryan's already talked to them. It'll be X-Force or Deadpool 3, whatever, but it'll be under the Fox banner. It'll only have the X-Men that they've established in the X-Men in their little, Colossus and what's her face, Negasonic
Warhead.
Yeah, that's the only people that we'll see from X-Men. Now what they may do is have jokes like they did with the X-Men over there, where he'll have a room be like, I've been trying to get a hold of people, and he'll have Captain America and Tony Stark and shit in the other room,
right?
And they'll do like things like that, and they'll have little jokes like that. But that's as far as they'll go with it. They'll keep it as R-rated and over and separate as they can, because I guarantee you they're not going to want to mess with something that's making the kind of money, because Deadpool and Deadpool 2 made so much money, they're not going to mess with that.
I gotta say though, guys, that we already got Deadpool in a cartoon form who appears in this bad boy, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, you could do a more adult.
I know, but I have a feeling
I was going to mention the same thing.
Confusion, yeah. I'm sure Disney doesn't want any confusion at all.
I was going to offer the counterpoint to that
is they could under Fox though, with because that was going to be done by what's his name, the Childish Gambino guy.
Yeah, he was involved with it.
Yeah. Glover.
They were gonna source it to the same company that does Archer too.
Right. I thought that was before Disney. That was on.
It was, and it got nixed after the sale.
I thought it got nixed,
but
before, because it was like Taylor Swift or something. He posted all the script. He posted like the full script, and then he was like blaming Taylor Swift for it because he had like a Taylor Swift joke.
Oh yeah, but they never confirmed if that was really what it was about.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah, I know. That was one of our bigger videos over on Meet, actually. Now that you mention it, I can't believe I forgot about that. But that all happened right around the same time.
Yeah.
But then I think. Go ahead, Steven.
Another thing they could do with Deadpool 3, depending on when they are able to produce it, would be to kind of confront any type of criticism about the other Marvel movies without really you referencing them directly, but like being able to show some humility to any kind of criticism, which would be a positive step, I think.
That's very true.
I do think there is some validity to what Liefeld's saying, though, because I think Reynolds was over in Asia at one point. I forget what movie he was promoting, but he said they had already begun work on Deadpool 3, and then like a lot of his more recent comments, he said that he's just waiting on Disney now. So it seems like it had been put on hold.
Yeah, well, they did have everything's on hold. That's the problem.
This was before. This was before the disease, the beer bug.
Right. Well, I think a big part of it is they want to establish what they're going to do with X-Men yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, they have had meetings, and the only reason I don't think it's something they're trying to hide or bury or change is on Bob Iger's own Twitter page. His banner has Deadpool pretty large and present on it. So I have a feeling they plan on doing something at some point here real soon. I mean, and it's the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, so it's not like it's a new version or a cartoon version really or anything like that, to where it's a generic version or anything. You know what I mean? To where I think that there's going to be something soon. We got to catch up on these super chats though, real quick before we get into the
Hang on, can I make a point real quick?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, about the cartoon. If they were to do like a 90s style Spawn take on Deadpool, an adult cartoon, that would be really well done and thought out. But they won't do it because of the fact that Disney is so embedded with cartoons. Kids are gonna see, oh, this is something for kids, and it's gonna be adult, and it would probably flop.
Right.
You'd have parents complain.
Right. Matt G sends us a piece of cake. Thank you so much. Tiberius Monk sends $5. Says, hello, Midnight's Edge panel. Dennis Villanueva is one of my favorite directors of the last decade, so I'm fully confident that Dune will hopefully be great. You want to say anything to that, Andre?
I hope it'll be great too. The script certainly is great, and but it has loads of people against it right now because of the gender bending that there has been. So I think the movie's going to have some convincing to do, and I hope that it will be able to do it.
Yeah, I think that Variety
anyway, that article, the one where basically they go
Not
all
Variety.
out virtue signaling, that article was a disaster.
Vanity Fair.
Vanity Fair, thank you.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that was the
wasn't
worst
it
thing they
wasn't
could ever
made
done.
for us, but still we saw it, and like God, like for our community at least, that was like the worst thing they possibly could have put out there.
Especially without putting a trailer out first. Like if they'd have done a trailer before that, and to where everybody kind of could have seen what they have in mind, and then drop that story, it might have been different. The biggest mistake is not giving us, and then that was also our first look at it too.
Yeah.
So it's like, you idiots, or in the words of Ren and Stimpy, you idiots. All right. Duke Hecht, am I saying that right? Duke Hecht or Duke CT? Maybe that's what it is. $5. Here's my question for everyone. If you could pick one video game to make a movie franchise out of, what would it be and why? Oh, Andre's got about a dozen of these, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. But let me let's begin with our distinguished panel. Let's have them go first. Trent.
Putting me up first. Fire Emblem, I would probably say, would be a really easy one. That's what I've been playing recently, so that's what kind of pops in my mind right now. They already have a lot of animations in the actual video game, so for the most recent one, Fire Emblem Three Houses, so it wouldn't be too hard to do a live action or even an anime or animated movie.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a Japanese strategy role-playing game.
That'd be why.
So it was pretty popular in niche on the Switch. Came out last year, but the genre is still like super niche. It's not like,
if it doesn't have sports, a cowboy, or shooting hookers in it, if it's not a retro game, I don't play it. So it's got to have one of those three things in it, or it's just not gonna. Yeah. I got the Spider-Man game. It's still in the plastic.
Yeah, I'm kind of bad when it comes to games as well. I would actually like to see a really well done Blood Rain movie. Now, we did get one from Yui Bold, and it was terrible, but Blood Rain was a really fun franchise. Yeah, he is a genius. And apparently he could beat the crap out of people in the boxing ring too. But no, it just if it was to be taken seriously and done well, I think that would be an amazing character to see on the big screen.
Andre, I'm almost confident that we could get an interview with Uwe Boll.
Yeah, let's try that. Actually, that would be cool. We're gonna say his name right though, which is Uwe Boll. But
Uwe.
yeah.
Uwe.
Yeah, actually, it would
If
be
I
cool.
don't
I'd love
kick my
to.
ass, yes.
I'd love to do an interview with Uwe Boll. Let's try for that.
Go for it. Yeah, if not, I'll try it. I say he
Yeah.
might answer you first since you're over there and stuff. But
Yeah.
all
And
right.
also, and he has one really, really good movie, Rampage. That movie that's a
The one
freaking
not
masterpiece.
based on the video game, right?
Yeah, the one not based on the video game.
Based on a video game.
Steven?
Yeah, well, I have two, and both of these games were.
You only get
Red-
one. I'm
Oh,
kidding. I'm
man.
kidding. I'm kidding. Go
Okay,
ahead.
because there's two. Both these games I played when I was a kid and playing with my Legos. I would actually make up sets because of these games. I love them so much. The first one is Metroid. I love the original Metroid. I still
Yeah.
run through it now and again. And Blaster Master,
Ooh, yeah.
which is
You're
a
gonna-
really
Oh,
good
I love
Metroid
Blaster
game.
Master. That was a great game.
You're gonna have Brie Larson play Seamus.
No, don't shut your dirty mouth.
Rob?
Ivan Stravosky. His name.
That's not a video game.
Okay.
I know you want to play with her, but that's not a video game.
Okay.
And you can't pick Frogger.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, like, Ivan. I would make Metal Gear Solid into a movie.
I figured that was your answer. I know I was picking on you.
Good, it's good.
I could almost predict that one from Rob.
Hugh Jackman as Solid Snake. So, and, it's pretty much just a movie condensed into a video game anyway.
That's my problem right there. I would not want to see any movie that's pretty much already a cinematic game. Because whenever I'm watching a movie that feels like a video game, I get bored and I want to just pick up the controller. Because I'll tell you what, I hate watching other people play video games. I find nothing more boring. That's the only reason I've never really pursued us playing. Like, we might still do the Starfleet game, but us doing any kind of gaming on After Dark or anything, because we've had people ask, and I could easily do it, and Rob could easily do it too anytime, because he plays enough video games and stuff.
I could do it too if it's retro games.
Yeah, see, that's the only thing I would do and find any. But that's the thing. I find it so boring to watch people play games that it's just. I don't feel like there's enough people that would want to watch me playing a game. So, like, if they were going to do a movie out of a video game to answer the question, it would have to be probably some retro game, and something from like the Atari or Nintendo era, to where we got a really interesting story in the background, but the game itself was just
Right.
plunk,
Something
plunk,
that's the
plunk,
absolute
plunk,
opposite.
plunk.
of
Like a
America.
great example
Pac-Man
is-
movie.
Yeah,
Superman.
people fucking hate the Mario Brothers movie, but I'll tell you what, that had the right idea. It took something that was so simplified you couldn't really do it as a straight story, and really played with the ideas. Mortal Kombat's another great example. It took everything you needed for the story and made the
Right.
story first and foremost. That's what's important. And again, now you get to a point where we can actually do the Mortal Kombat movie in the game itself and it'd be the same thing. So I don't want something like that, but I'd love to see, like, you guys have mentioned some great ones already. So, I mean, if I had to pull one out of my butt, geez, that's tough. I would really love to see like a really well done Mario Brothers movie, I suppose, or something Pac-Man where you could really kind of pull something out of the world and play with it. Like, I remember the Pac-Man cartoon. As a
I was
kid.
about to bring that up too. The Pac-Man cartoon.
What about Dragon's Lair?
See,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
already like a
That's
movie.
coming. That's coming.
And that's already, yeah, that's
With
already
Ryan Reynolds. It's going to be
Oh
amazing.
my
Are
god.
you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
We
Yeah, I'm
reported
serious.
on it. Rob
Ryan
just forgot.
Reynolds is heading up a Dragon's Lair movie adaptation. How brilliant is that? So you get that wish.
Except
Oh.
Owen Wilson would have been better because he looks like him, but yeah.
No, not Owen Wilson. I don't think he has the personality for it.
Hell no. Ryan Reynolds is freaking perfect for that. Just
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, you're
He's
Imagine the fun they can have with a next adaptation where you can't get past the first freaking stage with the dragon. Imagine how fun they can do that in the movie.
and Ryan Reynolds definitely has
I
just
don't-
enough jackass to make it fun.
Yeah, and we're actually getting that movie, provided they'll ever start filming. That's like the best thing. It's not even fantasy.
And I may have lost some super chats here, Anders. You may have to.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
find that. No problem.
Because Dragon's Lair and like Space Ace and that stuff is already an interactive movie, so it already lends itself to that kind of thing. The
Mhm.
biggest problem always with video game adaptations is that so much of the narrative is performed by the player,
Right.
and that's difficult to translate just into a passive kind of experience.
Excuse me, gamer girl.
Also, I'd like to point out too that Dragon's Lair actually had its own cartoon as well, with multiple options.
Oh yeah, I remember that. You know, if someone says Cliffhanger was already based on a movie called Castle Cagliostro.
Yes.
So, which is
they actually took it and made it into a game.
We got Spaced Invaders.
Well, we got Spaced Invaders. I don't think it's in any way affiliated with the game, but what the hell else are you going to do? It's either going to be Independence Day or Spaced Invaders. So.
But speaking of narratives, though, Tom, that are difficult to follow.
I lost all the super chats. So
but I'll find it. So it's fine.
You can get them. You can get them. Yeah.
In the meantime, let's who is next with their
I think we got everybody.
Oh, it didn't get me.
You.
Yeah. Okay. Me then. I'm gonna. The question was for one, but I'm gonna present two, but one for each reality. And in a reality where we get no other Conan movie, like real Conan the Barbarian movie, then I want a golden axe. So we can have that instead.
That'd be good, yeah.
But in a hypothetical event that there's a real Conan movie, well, then we don't need Golden Axe. Then there's something else we need instead. Something that I think can be absolutely mind-blowing. Take all of the water special effects, everything that James Cameron developed for his underwater Avatar 2 that who knows when we're ever going to see, and who cares and who really wants to see it, and put all of those resources, everything developed for that, and make Echo the Dolphin.
Wow. Echo the Dolphin, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine
Talk about going old school, man.
Yeah, going old school, but also that could be an amazing movie. Like, it takes place in different timelines. You have all these underwater cities, Atlantis, you name it. Like, sky's the limit with what you can do with that.
Wow.
Well, and we should have done this earlier. Real quick. I'm putting a link in the chat right now. Head on over to Audible. And if you go to audible.com, Midnight's Edge, and sign up, or text Midnight's Edge 500 500, you get, what is it, a free month?
I don't recall extra, but you do get some bonus bonus credits.
But the reason we're bringing this up isn't because we want to promote ourselves so much. Mr. Walton, why don't you tell us what is now available on Audible?
Now available on Audible. If you go to your Amazon account, you can find the Fandom Menace Volume 1, a Fandom Betrayed audio book, narrated by Robot Shlomo of Midnight's Edge. I love the work that Rob did. If you like watching Midnight's Edge videos, Midnight's Edge After Dark videos, and hearing Rob narrate, and everybody loves that voice, and you're going to really enjoy this telling of my book. And he uses his Kathleen Kennedy voice for the Kathleen Kennedy quote, which was a surprise, I will admit, but a welcome one. I could not stop rolling. I had to stop listening to it. Chapter 5 quite a few times because it was a surprise. And poor Rob. What did you say, Rob? You left notes?
Yeah, I indexed all the on the recording because the audio program I use is called Mixcraft, and you place a marker where you at certain points so you don't lose your place. And I was just placing these markers. I'm like, I just hope to God Stephen likes this. I don't have to go back and do it again.
No, it was great. Rob, since you've been able to read the entire book, obviously, what did you think of it?
I thought it was great. It's a great history. It's a great. It's almost. I hate tooting our own horn, but it's almost like a full length, like movie documentary style Midnight's Edge video, and that it traces. It gives a very deep history of this movement of because it is a movement of the Phantom Menace movement, and this is only volume 1 too. I mean, we got still a little ways to go here, don't we?
Yeah, we do have quite a ways to go, and I'm looking forward to hearing from people what they think of the first chapter, Gamergate. You get a declaration from Nick Nugent, the cover artist for the Phantom Menace volumes. Please go follow him and check out his Knight Rider companion book. He has a book out with a detailed conversation, insight, interviews with the cast and crew for Knight Rider. So if you're into that show,
nice.
Please check out Nick Nugent. And then Anthony Ergo, who has 3 books out on Amazon, the Dystopian series. You know him as Ruin the Man Baby. Go check him out. Great science fiction author. But after those two declarations of what they believe the fandom menace is, you have a kind of a go over of Gamergate, which was a very in-depth issue. It was hard to condense down. I gave you the highlights of what that meant in as far as the industry journalists covering a narrative, a false narrative, and then presenting people who reinforced that narrative. And that echo became so strong, that echo chamber, that the mainstream media, the CNNs, picked up on it and continued to push that narrative that the customer, the gamer, were racist, toxic 30-year-old man babies living in their mother's basements. Like, very relative to everything that we saw with the expression of Comicsgate, and then into the fandom menace. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to think about this. And I know some of you have been asking for the audio book, so Rob did a wonderful job. Please check it out. Thank you all very much for your support. Hail, my brothers and sisters.
I mean, I look at it this way. I mean, it's one of those worlds where, well, of course, people do have some extra time on their hands right now. And, but if you're one of those who just isn't really a big fan of reading books in general, or you picked up the book, but it's just, it's so time consuming and you want to do other things instead of just reading. That's the best part about these audiobooks, is you can do tons and tons of stuff while you're, listening to these books. And that's the best way to, consume it, as far as I'm concerned. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
I ain't got time.
Yeah, exactly. I can read a book perfectly fine. That's what I've been doing my whole life so far. It's how I learned English. But
wow.
Like just today, like, it's just so much more convenient with an audiobook. So long before Audible sponsored us, I was listening to Audible anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you want to go out for a walk. You want to go, you put, you download it to your phone or whatever device you used, or you just go and you take a stroll for around the neighborhood. You want to, you're a salesman. You're on the road a lot, or you're a truck driver, or whatever. You want something to keep you company. There you go.
And the best thing is, if you go to our link or you text 500 and with midnight as a keyword, you will get a special promotion right now as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you giving me the time. Rob, thank you for helping me with that audiobook. And just want to give a shout out to Supreme Heretic. He has a YouTube channel, yes. Drew Taylor.
Drew.
He's a writer, and he's going to be helping me edit the Phantom Menace Volume 2. So get ready for announcements on that in about a month.
Yes,
awesome.
All right.
It was both a privilege and an honor.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So
we have some let's get to some super chats, and then we can get into the main topic of today, which was basically the San Diego Comic-Con and the Star Trek panel and everything that goes with that. Well, let's get caught up with super chats first. Next one was Peppermint Oil Capsule, who sent us £2 saying, "You cultural locust." My favorite Tom quote. Yeah, that was absolutely.
Well, I actually got that from Doomcock originally. We should probably show that real quick again, since we actually have like 3 times the people here. Should we real quick? You guys?
Oh yeah, sure. Go for it.
All right, this is what he's talking about.
No, wait, let's do the super chats first.
Yeah, let's do that first,
and then we do this as an intro to the Comic-Con panel.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
So let's just go through the final 2. Garbo the VS sent us $2 saying, "You think that Bob Iger regrets screwing over GL?" George Lucas.
John.
No, he made that very clear in his memoir.
Book. Yeah. Comics.
I think he has no regrets for anything he's done.
Yeah. Rob. Muted. Steven?
Yeah. Well, hold on. No, I don't think he has any. No, I don't think he has any regrets. I think he's. Yeah, regret nothing. That's what they always say, right? Regret nothing.
No regrets.
Yeah, exactly.
I also don't think that he regrets screwing over George Lucas per se. I think what he regrets is looking the other way and giving Kathleen Kennedy 2 free reigns on The Last Jedi. I think that's his one regret.
Yeah, I would agree with Andre.
Yeah. And then William Sova also sent us $2 saying, man, I want to see a Battletech Mech Warrior movie. I'm sure many others.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Armored Core. That'd be another good one.
Yeah. And with that, I do believe we are caught up with Super Chats. Going to do a quick double check here. Come on, reload. Yeah, then we are all caught up. So Tom, yes, feel free to run our little tribute to Alex Kurtzman as a lead-in to our discussion of the Star Trek Comic-Con panel.
Midnight's Edge presents Real Boneheads of Cinema.
Real Boneheads of Cinema.
Today we salute you, Alex Kurtzman.
You cultural fucking locust.
You've taken a beloved 50-year-old science fiction franchise and completely destroyed it.
Oh, it didn't live long and prosper.
Likeable characters? Who needs them when we've got Mikey Spock?
She's just a plank of wood.
So pour a cold beer and celebrate a special kind of stupidity that ruins Star Trek forever.
How's the Dark Universe going?
How does sonar and space work? If I know, as long as it sounds good, who cares?
You idiot, there's no sound in space.
That $25 million CBS contract sure is getting its money's worth, isn't it?
Oh, how you got ripped off.
We salute you, Alex Kurtzman, because failing upward is still a thing in Hollywood.
Sheer fucking hubris from a real bonehead of cinema.
Seriously, that could be its own YouTube channel. just doing those.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there will be plenty more where they came from. Yeah, but yeah, let's take it from there. I hope you all enjoyed that. I have to give massive kudos to Tom and Rob for doing that. I cannot take any credit for it whatsoever because I wasn't even aware of the beer commercials that it's inspired by until Tom pointed them out to me. So that was nice, but something that wasn't so nice was this year's San Diego Comic-Con, more specifically the Star Trek panel, because most of the other panels, they at least had the decency to be live. This one didn't. This one was pre-recorded and it was pre-edited, in my opinion. It was even really poorly edited.
Oh, for sure. It was
yeah.
super cringe the way it was edited.
And the worst of all is that they were so protective of it. And I think that they're so protective of it because they're so worried that it's going to be torn apart, kind of like what we're doing right now. And for that reason, no footage was allowed. So inspired by Naughty Dog, they then were really, really ready to take down everyone that used any footage from it. Like Anna, that Star Wars girl, unfortunately got to experience. And they got to experience it themselves as well. They were so gung-ho.
Gary as well, yeah.
So trigger-happy.
It happened to us as well.
Even took down the panel itself. Wow. How
On
about
their
that?
own.
That is so hilarious.
So they did literally Naughty Dog themselves, because if you guys remember, Naughty Dog struck their own trailer, if I remember correct. Was that a trailer?
They struck the official PlayStation account, YouTube, that had the trailer on it. Yeah.
That is beautiful.
So in pure form, and we got to thank Rock Flanagan for the super sticker. He sends a laughing pear. I appreciate that. Yeah, this was just
but
you
still,
can't write this comedy. This is hilarious.
But again, that was just like a trailer. Here, they actually struck down the Comic-Con panel itself, like the main. That's like taking down the entire game. So yeah, there's like no comparison. So guys,
Imagine,
what do you think about that?
imagine being so afraid of criticism that you do that to yourself.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
But
that's what it is now. Yeah, they're just
Yeah, I
What
mean,
were you
it's just
saying,
like I
John?
said.
Oh,
I'm sorry, John.
Steven.
No, man, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I think that's just, I mean, what you were saying, it's indicative that they are extremely afraid of any kind of negative feedback. And I'd honestly say they're expecting the negative feedback. The Lower Decks video proved that. I mean, we got our channel, we were doing our Deep Space Nine review, and we showed the trailer in our live stream last week, and they had it claimed even after we had removed the
remove the footage. I had to actually put in like a dispute in order for them to like put it up now. So that's on the channel now if you want to watch that. But yeah, I think that they really it shows that they don't have any faith in their own product, honestly. And I think it also shows that they're afraid of their own audience, which is never a good thing.
Right?
No, it's not.
That's exactly what, and Naughty Dog is a great example of that, John. That's exactly what they did. They were afraid of the criticism from their own audience that they began striking people left and right. It's just, I mean, now, does everybody think that that's a sign of how fearful some of these companies are at fan reactions?
Yes. I think the is so bad. I think they are so worried about the bad publicity that they are willing to go to that extreme. Well, not just that, they don't even understand how the system works to where, I mean, the embarrassment. I mean, come on, imagine the embarrassment they must have after doing that. I mean, but at the same time, it's just like, I'm sure they would rather have that as collateral damage and live with that embarrassment than be able to let us go on and on about it. Because let's face it, like our video we posted today, I think was purely spot on. And the fact that we went around their system by creating our own art, and I want to see them try and copyright that shit.
Did you use any of the audio?
Be careful with that. Be careful what you hope for.
I want to see them try. I do, because we'll fight that one tooth and nail. I'll get my own lawyer. I'll get my own lawyer on that one, because I'll be like, y'all motherfuckers are stealing my art. No, I don't care. You know?
Did you use any of the audio from the panel at all?
No,
Okay.
nothing.
All right.
No, this is just like the time. What spawned this whole thing to begin with was when Disney decided. Well, not Disney themselves. I'm sure I should rephrase that. When we were doing our Captain Marvel review live, Andre was talking about the film. And everything was fine. It was just him and I talking bubbles. Nothing else. No pictures. Nothing. All of a sudden, as soon as he started getting critical of the film, we got shut down. Well, it came from some law firm in Estonia. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was like the Estonian.
That's really random.
Yeah, and they loosely had ties to Disney, but we can't.
Subsidiaries. It's the same thing that Naughty Dog did. They used that Muso LLC, so it's yeah,
exactly.
So regardless,
use like a third party to shield themselves from any kind of liability, because they know it's bullshit. Of course, it went up again, but the thing was that they just had to shut down that live stream right away, because I believe that if I had been positive about the movie, they wouldn't have shut it down, because they let the whole thing go, and it was like the moment that we started getting into the review, it was clear he doesn't like it. Then they killed it instantly.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a trend that a lot of these companies are using. I remember a story from Clownfish. They were doing like a She-Ra reaction or something like that, and all of these other channels had positive things to say, and Clownfish was like being critical, and their stream was shut down. So it's not just. I mean, it's all of these entertainment companies are using the same tactics.
Yeah.
Cash Kester says $2 and said, "Damn it, Tom! Just play Spider-Man." I'm sure Rob's thinking the same thing. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? How have you not played that game yet?" I just haven't had the time, man.
Oh, Spider-Man's fantastic.
You can blame me for that.
No, but I mean, well, I mean, if I do that, it's like, okay. When Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, I got so far behind on Midnight's Edge, it's not even funny. Like, I flat out told Andre, I'm like, I have no excuse but Red Dead Redemption 2. It fucking sucked me in, and I wasted way too much time playing a fucking video game when I should have been doing this other shit.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me. I didn't create much content during that time period.
So half the reason we're so far behind in all these interviews is Red Dead Redemption 2.
I just got to say
my fault. It's totally my fault. I take 100% responsibility.
The Lower Decks preview that they showed is up as its own video on CBS's All Access on their YouTube channel. As of right now, it has 1,300. It has 63,247 views, 1,300 likes, 1,000 dislikes.
Wow.
Well, did you look at the whole stream? Like last night when I was looking at it, it was like they had it on the CBS YouTube, and it's only like 3,000, and then the official IGN one was only at 13. I was like, no one's watching that stuff.
Nobody cares.
I know.
So I've had to make a conscious effort to stay the hell away from video games for a while.
So that's even more interesting. They're actually trying to censor people who are actually like exposing their product to a wider audience and actually get greater reach than them, even though it's critical.
They
They're
don't
still
think-
trying
Well, they
shut
want
it
to
down.
suppress the criticism as
No,
well.
yeah.
because they
Just-
know
yes.
it's going to hurt them.
Right.
Well, and we know this is true. We've had more than enough critics come out and say, "Oh yeah, people will not, or they will give a positive review to maintain access." You had the whole Christian Harloff breakdown live on stream where he's like, "Fuck this! I wanted to go fucking Star Wars. I'm a big fan."
Oh yeah.
I
The
shelled so hard.
The sci-fi guy, like admitted that's what they do.
Exactly. I mean, it's not even and getting us back on point with San Diego Comic-Con, I can't believe they didn't even bother to cut out where Kurtzman flat out says that Star Trek is secondary. Our
Yes.
agenda is first and foremost.
They don't care
and
anymore.
upfront.
They're obviously brazen enough now to admit it because they feel that they're winning in the culture war.
They feel
Are
that they're
they?
winning in their. They feel like they're winning in their echo chamber. No, I think that they're even more emboldened. We've seen those types double down, triple down, quadruple down on their rhetoric over and over again because, in some twisted
Are they?
way,
Yes, I think they are winning.
No, I know.
When this ideology is seeping into everything from government to education to entertainment, yeah, I think they are because
in that respect,
it's
they
in
may
it's
be,
in the
but-
it's in the areas that matter at this point.
But all right.
And it also, I mean, if I could just expand on that just a tiny bit, one of the reasons why I am writing these books is because I want to fight in the culture war. Now, my look at this is an entertainment, and what we have seen is that entertainment properties validate the feelings of people who have some kind of inner hate or anguish or self-loathing or whatever it is. It gives them validation to saying, yes, you can blame someone else and not take responsibility for your own problems. And I think that's a big contributor to what's happening on the stage, the world stage right now.
Another thing I think that they need to understand and we understand is the culture war is not going to be won by us. It's going to be won by the normies. And that's the reason why we need to make sure to get our message out so that they can be informed.
I agree.
Right.
And that's why I ask, are they though? Because yeah, I agree that they have infiltrated, the entertainment and all these avenues that make it look like they have a much bigger voice than they really do. But I believe
Come on, man. You saw that Robin DiAngelo video, and you know that stuff is making its way into HR departments and government. That's the stuff that's scary.
Let me make
Right.
one point though. I think the proof is in the pudding when it comes to the money of the matter. Look at what happened to Nike. Look at what happened to Gillette. Look at Birds of Prey. Look at Charlie's Angels. The proof is in the pudding. Sooner or later, the money people are going to have to say, wait a minute, shit is not working here.
Well,
What was the channel that
money
pulled
people are
cops?
the ones who are the ideologues, though.
Yes, that's correct.
The
But look
fandom-
at the channel that pulled cops. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
But
A&E
they
for live
saw-
TV and they had 50% decrease. I think.
Yeah, that gives me hope. That gives me hope.
Yeah,
But
A&E
we
dropped
need
one
more
of
of
their
that.
shows, and they dropped
A&E,
lost over 50. No, that wasn't because of Cops, though. That was a different show. A different company dropped Cops.
Live
A&E
PD,
was
I
Live
think is what it
PD.
was.
Yeah, Live
Live
PD.
was Live PD.
And then when I can't remember the show that A&E dropped, but it was one of their cop dramas, and they lost 50% of their subscribers over it.
Well,
No,
Tom,
I think A&E was Live PD. That's
Well,
what they
Or is that
lost.
what Live PD is called?
Well,
That's what
there's
it's
a
called?
difference between fandom engineering and social engineering, and what I think that people like Kathleen Kennedy have tried to do is create a fandom engineering, which is getting rid of the old fans and bringing in this new crowd. And what they found out is the new crowd doesn't financially support them, doesn't support that business model. That and that encapsulated within entertainments. Yes, I do think that people speaking out against this and the normies just not having any interest in it has had an effect. So in that area, yes, they may be losing, but the overall push that comes from several different fronts by the same people who have the same outlook as those in Hollywood, like Silicon Valley. Project Veritas does a lot of exposure on this, on what they're doing within these within Google, within Twitter, within social media platforms that do restrict or shadow ban certain points and push others. So on a social stage, no, I don't think that. I think that they are.
I think we've won some battles, but we're not winning the war at this
and
point.
the thing is, the reason I say is I think that we think that they're so like winning because their voices are so loud. But that's because they run the media, this, that, and the other. And I think people
they
just
control the cultural institutions.
and
That's
I
why.
get that, but I think that the people are smart enough. Like I think we've gotten to this point where I think so. I think Well, here's the thing. The media may make you believe one thing, but I've been to several different areas, and I don't see anything like the media keeps pushing. I like I said, the most I've seen as far as protesting was the two Karens sitting out in front of the library. And I've been trying to get a picture of them, but the two Karens have been bringing their kids, and I'm not taking a picture with their kids there. So
Well, that's probably good.
It's a localized thing, though, Tom. I mean, I
get that.
Protests where I live, you know, but here's the whole thing. And Stephen Walton says, you know, this new audience they want they're not buying into it because the fandom is passed down from father. It's a generational thing. It's father to son, mother to daughter, father to daughter, mother to son. What, you know, somebody older brother to younger brother. I got into Star Trek because my older brother was into it. And to think that you're just going to tell everybody at a corporate level, oh no, that guy who lives in New York and who watched Star Trek all his life and who's going to pass it down to his love of Star Trek to his son who's just coming of age. No, we don't want him. We want the 21-year-old freelance graphic artists who ride a bike to an office once a week and shops at Whole Foods and exclusively buys stuff at Amazon and who has a beard and dresses like a lumberjack and lives 100 miles from the nearest tree. That's our fan. Why do you think this guy's going to be a fan? He was never a fan before. I'm not saying it's impossible for him to become a fan, but that's not who your target audience is. That 40-year-old, 45-year-old, 50-year-old white guy, that's your audience because he has a kid that is going to say, hey, Dad, what are you watching? I mean, that's the whole thing. They think they can. It's not so much the engineering. It's just the fan replacement that they think. They think these are all switched on people that wait in line overnight for an iPhone outside the Apple store are going to watch Star Trek or Star Wars on that iPhone because, you know, they gave away all those Disney Plus subscriptions with Verizon when you bought a new phone, right? I mean, how many of those phones do you think, how many people actually stayed with Disney Plus? I don't think a whole lot.
I mean, and that goes to kind of another point is that you see the Dreckies out there have been fighting this line like, no, there's no agenda in Star Trek. You're looking at it wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. And then here we go.
They're gaslighting. That's why they're gaslighting.
Kurtzman has been very open that there's an agenda. He's been for years. Yeah. He says it in interviews. Like every time he has an interview, he talks about it.
I don't know how to write men, so I'm just going to write women.
But that's
like he didn't want to have a male captain.
Yeah, it is absolutely an agenda, and it is absolutely social engineering, and it's not a coincidence at all. And what we're seeing in society right now, at least in American society, many others are so far, knocked on wood, spared of it. But still, that's kind of like what they want. That is the end goal of this. It's all connected.
Well, one of the things is, though, that the marketing people have said over and over again, what is the biggest, demographic out there now? Millennials. Millennials don't buy shit. But then they think they can get to millennials by having all this wokitude in their media. And they're wrong. These kids, they don't care. I mean, we always say how many articles we have seen that said millennials are killing X, Y, and Z. Millennials are killing beer. Millennials are killing hand soap. Millennials are killing, retail stores. These are people that have shunned whatever you're trying to push on them. I mean, the millennials aren't the ones that are going to save Star Trek. It's going to be Generation X. And it's going to be the kids of Generation X. Yeah, because we are the ones that bought into it. And we have the disposable income now to enjoy certain things. That's the thing. Millennials, okay, the student loan debt and everything, that's a whole, I don't want to get into that. That's a whole other can of worms. That's a whole other podcast. Okay, fine. I understand. You have a lot of problems now that you didn't have 15, 20 years ago back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But at the same time, Kathleen Kennedy has said, we do not need to cater to male fans. I'm like, that's your fucking audience, you dumbass.
That was the reason why it was actually bought, too.
You empty-headed star fucking whore. That is your fucking audience.
Yeah, Star Wars was a boys franchise. That's literally why they bought it, so they could have a boys franchise to go with their Disney princess girls. Side.
Well, and Disney's tried this for a long time. Yeah.
I just Me Too'd myself. I just canceled myself. things. Call him Captain
But,
Kennedy.
but basically, that's kind of like what's like the thing with comics as well, is that they have like made this assumption that okay, we already have the white male audience, and then they also make the second assumption that they're going to stick with us no matter what. So now we're going to change everything
That's not the
about
assumption
this
anymore. They don't
completely.
care if the white male audience sticks around. They want to cultivate this theoretical audience.
But at one point, it was an assumption that we don't have to do anything to attract them or to keep them attracted. We're going to try to expand to get even more people in that weren't into it before. And in the process, they have failed to attract the new audiences while losing the old ones in the process. So good going.
Yeah, I think we had a story up last week, or it might have been early this week. Marvel's running Facebook ads promoting Marvel Unlimited, their digital comic service, with Captain America, and Steve Rogers isn't on any of their ads at all.
Yeah,
I did a video with Mecca about that, actually. You know, like I said, the one guy, it's so bad. We went through this article and I couldn't even remember their names after just reading them.
Well,
I mean, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, those characters are in like one or two stories, and they have like no significant impact on actual like any Captain America stories. Like they didn't even have Bucky Barnes on there. They had an alternate version.
No, it was like there's multiple alternate versions of Captain America, and they're all female.
Yeah, except for Sam Wilson.
You know, Captain America,
except for Sam.
Captain America 300 was one of the first comics I ever bought with my own money. I bought it at a used bookstore for $1 at the time. It was a few months old, but still, I mean, just wow, you know, this big milestone issue. You know, I was so happy that I bought it in the plastic Mylar bag. And to me, it's just an affront to everything that Marvel represents by doing that, or everything they did represent, or everything that they thought, that everything that I held in high regard about Marvel. But the thing is, like I said, now they can't even create. What do we always keep saying, John? In comics division, create new characters. They can't even do that right. They can't. They just take a derivative character and just slap the uniform on them. And I said one time, I said on the Facebook group, fuck it, you know what? I'm gonna start my own
internet gas.
Yeah, internet gas.
Well, yeah, a really good example of that is when they do go and create a new character, we get the new warriors, and we get internet gas. Because these people have no freaking talent. That's the thing that's so sad about this. And it's the reason why they go and co-opt existing properties to push their agendas, because they have no creativity.
Children of the Atom is the most egregious example.
Yes, absolutely.
And what did I say? I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start my own band called the Beatles, because it doesn't matter who's in the roles. It's just the name that counts, right?
Right. San Francisco Giants 49er sends us €5.49, says, well done video. Good. That we have to laugh on. And yeah, I think we need a laugh right now with everything going on, especially since Rob's going to be canceled.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm dominating the conversation, but I'm fucking pissed. This pisses me to fuck off.
I feel like you're holding in your emotions, Rob. You've got to just let it out, brother.
Yeah. Mark C sends $5. Says,
when KMFDM will say, for your hate.
Right.
Don't make me Kinnison. You don't want to see me go full Kinnison.
Oh, please don't. Not right now. When I think of Alex Kurtzman, I see Jack Black at the beginning of King Kong sweating buckets while the studio sax launches. I don't think he's that self-aware. I mean,
I think you're right.
He's self-absorbed. That's the thing. I think that's the key thing. Is none of these people have enough self-awareness. They're just too self-absorbed. And again, it's funny. He says, he can't write men characters, and they want diversity on Star Trek. But I think this was one of the most poignant, not some kid art pieces from our last video. What do you think, Andre? It's kind of funny that the show they're toting and trying to get off the ground right now is just chock full of white people in the main cast.
I think that's an accident, and unfortunately, it's the only thing that's attraction at all. Everything else they tried, it's failed. No one wants it. It's all been rejected.
Yeah, I was a little spot on with my title.
Yeah, I thought so. You're usually spot on.
Last time I saw that many honkies in one place was at the Country Music Awards.
Or at the Cracker Barrel. Jan Thomas Peterson sends in that's Danish.
That's Corona. That's not
Norwegian Corona.
You're pissing me off now, Tom.
I don't know. Rob does this shit.
No, that's my own currency. That's my countryman, Jan Thomas Pettersen. That sent us 22 Norwegian krona. So thanks so much.
Just be glad it wasn't North Korean money. No.
I give up. Rob, you doing this from now on. Almost every San Diego Comic-Con panel seems woke. Oh, yeah. Well, that's been the last, 5 years now? Yeah. It's how many woke points can we get this year?
The open-minded dick measuring Olympics, I call it.
Yeah.
How many boxes can we check mark? I mean, Batwoman did it with their new cast, so they got a lot of boxes in one go.
They made the new Batwoman a woman of color, a drug addict, and she's homeless, living in a van by the river.
Yeah, she'll murder you too. Like she will unabashedly kill you
for no good reason, but to blame it on Patrick Stewart's character, no less, too. Because
probably
there's no reason for her to be living in the desert.
That still makes me laugh.
It's a post-scarcity world. I mean, the Federation and the Federation takes care of people's housing needs, all their needs. The only reason why she's living in the desert is because she wants to live in the desert.
Yeah.
It's because she feels so sorry for herself.
She can grow snake leaf.
But Rob, you're forgetting my racism in Star Trek. That's what you're forgetting.
Oh yeah.
It's representative of current day politics, Rob.
Yes.
And then they show she has a kid, and then she walked out on the kid, but it's still his fault because that she was a bad mom. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go away. Shut up.
Wow. Yeah, that's such an optimistic, hopeful future. Maybe it's because she grows drugs and they're illegal in the main town, in the main cities. So
I was speaking of things being illegal. This lower decks thing. I was going over with Mecca. Let me see. I got my notes here. Hold on. I actually had to take notes. It's so bad. This lower decks thing. Now the ensign stunning and brave. Actually, we see, it shows the ensign soy boy with giving the captain's log. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's just a kind of a Star Trek-y kind of moment.
Yeah.
And then the door opens and ensign's stunning and brave. She's drunk on duty. Well, we don't know if she's on duty, but she's drunk. She's drunk and she's out of uniform too. She has Romulan ale, which she calls Romulan whiskey. That's 3. Okay, possession of a banned substance under Federation law. Mm-hmm. As she takes the batleth that she stole off of probably Martok, so theft of property from a Federation from a diplomat.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4, and she stabs her crew member, so that's aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. So she commits 5 violations, most likely violations of Starfleet code within 10 seconds.
But Rob, it's lower decks. It's a comedy.
It's a comedy. Oh yeah, okay.
She's a Whammons. You can't do that.
Yeah. I'm like, how are you even allowed on a starship? But again, with lower decks. I mean, we have to lower the bar. And Dawn Lewis, the lady from a different world who plays the captain, because Ensign Stunning and Brave she doesn't want to be responsible. I think they're going to promote her. So failing upward, just as Kurtzman has failed upward, they're going to fail upward the crew on lower decks. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, it's very reflective.
There you go.
It's very reflective. And also the new audience they're trying to bring in has a lower IQ. So they've got to go down there. That's the road they have to take, Rob.
I'm like, where again, sorry I'm dominating conversation, but where's Captain Janeway to say you are not fit to wear that uniform?
Those days are long gone, Rob.
I know. I miss Janeway was like one of the most, at the time she was considered not the best captain, but you go back and watch Voyager now, Janeway was a fucking hard ass, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, she was.
A beast.
First thing Janeway would have said to Mikey Spock, he goes, I appreciate the input of all my bridge officers, but if you dare undermine my authority on this bridge again, you spend the rest of this voyage confined to quarters and relieved of duty. Do I make myself clear? You know,
right.
She would have jettisoned her into the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah, we were actually just watching a Deep Space Nine episode, and Kira actually goes above Cisco to the Admiral, and Cisco finds out about it, and he's like, if you do that again, I'll have your head on a platter.
Yeah, Cisco didn't take. He's my favorite captain.
Oh,
He didn't
same here, man.
anything.
Cisco's the best.
Yeah, but we're racist.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, but we're all racist.
Hey, you
never
can't
mind the
have them be
fact
your
that one of our
favorites.
favorite captains is black. Yeah, we're racist.
One of my favorite captains is a woman. Yeah, I'm clearly
You're sexist, Rob.
Yeah,
But here's the thing, though. Like they've shifted the goalposts of what those
Exactly.
terms mean so much that they don't mean anything anymore.
Oh
No.
yeah, and that's what we have most of our conversations lately on comics streams on Thursday nights. Is just the goalpost moving, the nonsense that this D'Angelo chick is putting out there. That basically, if you're white, you're racist, and all the fail safes she puts in that. You know, every denial you could have or proof you could have or whatever you could, it doesn't matter what you say, you're still going to be labeled a racist under her terms.
Because basically you are defined. It's like defined into you're white, oh, you're racist, then there's nothing you can do about it. You can only repent and be very sorry and give up everything.
Exactly.
The way she kind of puts it is you're racist for not admitting you're racist, and you're racist if you are admitting you're racist.
If you think you're not racist, you're racist.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
How about you're a racist accusing me of racism?
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
how about she's a racist who's projecting her racism on everybody?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. One argument is, well, we don't have people of color at the dinner table. And then she goes, another part of her argument is, even if you're with, a black man or a woman, or another person, then you still don't understand that experience. Like, which is it? Like, you talking to them or not talking to them? She contradicts herself constantly in that argument. And she also speaks in sign language, but I think it was gibberish.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because you were there in that last bit too. Whereas, like, look at her body language and the way she talked with her hands is like almost generally like the opposite of what she's saying. Like, if you were to actually go by what she's saying with her hands, it was just really weird and a lot of double talk and a lot, like you're saying. And well,
It's
that's what
funny,
people
though.
do. Yeah.
It's funny though, because that's typically in situations like that, the body talk is the actual talk, and you can kind of like forget about the real thing. It's like funny because I saw like one really, really clear example of it on a previous documentary. It was like the British BBC back when they actually were something to look up to and admire, back when they were real journalists. They had this program called Panorama, and they did this expose on the Church of Scientology. And then the Scientology sent like 2 bulldogs to shut them down. One of them was like Mike Rinder, who was like the head of their own internal KGB division. And this reporter from Panorama, he asked him like, well, David Miscavige is accused of this, and have you ever been abused by Miscavige, and have you ever done this or that? Yeah. And he said, no, I categorically deny everything, and his body language was saying yes. So he was like nodding his head every single time that he said no. And he wasn't even aware of it, but he did it. And then later, of course, he defected from the church, and he admitted that, it's all horribly true. And he's been almost single-handedly taken down the church ever since.
My wife is really obsessed with the Lee Remedy TV show that goes over that.
Yeah, that's what
the stuff that they cover
Mike
is just crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It's a great show. We watched all of it too.
Yeah, I watched it.
Mike Rinder is a modern day hero, if you ask me.
Absolutely. Well, the thing that I find so interesting is because there's definitely very much parallels between what you're seeing going on in Scientology and social justice and this ideology that they're pushing.
They're both cults.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's exactly the same. All the cults are the same. Like this and the hardcore communists, the hardcore Nazis, it's exactly the same. They're all cults. They are literally the same. The only thing that's different is somewhat wrapping, some historical backgrounds, but in the core, they are the same. And the people who are right now shouting for diversity and for canceling anyone they decry to be racist, they are exactly the same people that would be pushing people into the ovens in Germany in World War II.
Yeah. I'm scared
you can see
where
it in
they're
the
going to
cancel
take
culture aspect of it. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm kind of fearful of what the future holds with this nonsense, because I feel like we're not that far away. I feel like maybe if this ideology continues to gain prevalence within the next decade, we're going to see some atrocities coming.
Yeah,
as a
Oh,
result of it.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Just like the one who's now
Look at the French
outside of the
Revolution.
States, like looking in, like to me, I can only imagine that what you're seeing right now, that's what Germany looked like in the 1930s.
Look at what's going on in Portland. It's insane.
Yeah, that's like the same thing that was in Eastern Europe in the 50s when the Soviet Union was really gathering power and everything like that. That's what it looked like what you're seeing right now.
Well, that's really
Ordinary
interesting.
People have to stand up.
I actually used to do some tech work a long time ago, back in the 90s, for this old Hungarian guy, and he was actually a part of the Hungarian resistance movement fighting the communists, and he had to flee Hungary and come to the United States because they would have killed him.
Oh, he'll recognize what's.
He's probably long gone now. I mean, he was pretty old back then.
If he was alive, he would be saying, "Shit, I've seen this before."
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I mean, to me, it's very reminiscent of what I've read about the French Revolution as well.
There is an excellent talk about this exact subject on Itchy Baka's channel. I think it was like 3-4 videos ago, where he was making comparisons to something. I can't think of the gentleman's name, but he was an ex-KGB agent who came to the United States and began doing seminars about conditioning a population into a new outlook through a generation of propaganda.
That gets brought up on Tim Pool's his IRL channel a lot. It's like a joke there. Have you checked out? And I can't remember the guy's name either, but yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, so it's a great breakdown of that, and I think he's tying it into certain Disney execs.
Bezmenov,
how they were speaking. Yes.
Yuri Bezmenov.
So go check out Itchy. Just wanted to throw that out there because it was a really good video. It's about a half hour long, but it's very, very decent.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I always say is that, it's this whole thing. Okay, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you want diversity, blah, 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 blah. And okay, that's all well and good. But, we got real problems. At the end of the day, making sure there's a black woman on Star Trek in a lead role doesn't solve the fact that Flint, Michigan doesn't have clean water. I mean, what your energies are better. I know it's because it's easier for them to make sure Mikey Spock is the end all be all on Star Trek than to craft good education policy. But you're not solving anything. This doesn't
fixing actual problems in the world is hard. Preaching about it and pretending to be on the moral high horse is easy.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, guys, we have a really poignant super chat here from Tiberius Monk 84, who shares some really important personal information here, which I think are words to live by for, and that also shows the importance that something like Star Trek can have. He says, "The disrespect the current showrunners of Star Trek have shown disgusts me. Star Trek has saved my life and even prevented me from committing suicide.
Wow.
For me, The Orville is the best Star Trek show on TV." And first of all, I want to say, I'm really glad that you're still with us.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
No matter if it was Star Trek or internal fortitude or whatever. The most important thing is that you are still here, and I hope you are doing much, much better today. That is the most important thing of all. Secondarily, if Star Trek had anything at all to do with you making the right decision when you were at a critical juncture at some point in the past, then that speaks volumes of the importance and the beauty of Star Trek. How much hope is inherent in Star Trek.
Not just that, but entertainment in general. I mean, there's so much. Our escapism is so important. It gives us hope. It gives us encouragement. And a lot of people have been influenced by Star Trek to go and study astronomy, get into NASA, stuff like that. So, these shows definitely have impact on people's lives. And when you start screwing with it,
it's more than just escapism. It's our culture. This is our modern day myths.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
for instance, the ancient Greeks, they were living their pantheon. The ancient Norsemen, were not that ancient, like 1,000 years ago, they had their pantheon of Thor and Odin and stuff that I still admire, but that's neither here nor there. This stuff right here, this is our pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
This is our shared culture. This is something that unites us. I mean, just look at all of us. We are, how physically far apart are we? And how many of us would have interacted were it not for the internet and these things? But still, this is something that allows us to interact and have amazing discussions with some amazing people from literally all over the world. And that can get so many other people to come and watch and participate, because this is something unifying. This is something that makes us who we are. This is essentially the same as a tribe sitting around the campfire and telling war stories after hunting the mammoth that they did like 10,000, 100,000 years ago. This is what this is. This is our social glue that binds us together, and that is what these showrunners are dissolving. And it's not a matter of them putting a black woman in there. That's perfectly fine. That's not an issue at all. The issue is that it's been made intentionally divisive. It's not that they've put a black woman in there, it's that they put a black woman in there and they've made a point of anyone who isn't a black woman ain't shit.
I think that's what they're trying to do, though. Is they're trying to undo that cultural adhesive that is there, and it makes it easier to tear down society and reshape it in their image by doing so.
Yeah, that's entirely right.
Another thing. I mean, I hate to say Generation X is the ones that are going in there and fucking everything up. I hate saying that about my generation, but Kurtzman's Generation X, J.J. Abrams' Generation X, a lot of these people are Generation
All
X.
the marketing people are millennials.
Yeah, but it's not because of their generation, Rob. You know why that is? It has nothing to do with generation. It's simply a matter of they happen to be the ones that are the decision makers, which means that the money men on the backside, the ones that are kind of like calling for changes, they call on them to execute those changes, and they just happen to, like, if this was 10 years in the future, it would be that generation, and if it was 10 years in the past, it would be that generation. So it's just a matter of they happen to be the age group that can call the shots and execute the changes that the higher up and money men want.
There's a larger point, though, I'm trying to get to it, but I mean, it's that generation that saw a lot of heroes being torn down. I mean, you had guys, Bill Clinton fell from grace. Gary Hart fell from grace. I mean, there were a lot of people. Michael Jackson fell from grace. They had a lot of people actually being torn down. A lot of people were being torn down through the 90s and the 2000s. Michael Jordan, exactly. So obviously, the gambling scandal, obviously, it's going to bleed over into entertainment. Like we have an entire generation now that not only doesn't believe in heroes but wants to see them destroyed. And I don't think that's really a case of some sinister plot. I think it's a reflection of the time they grew up in, and now that's all they know. All they know are heroes being dismantled before their eyes.
I think that's part of it, but I do think there's a greater plot to it to get all conspiratorial.
Well, it's also a trend in storytelling that, the whole deconstruction thing after Nolan's The Dark Knight and everything, the deconstruction of heroes. But the big problem is that if you're going to deconstruct a hero, you better leave something better in its place.
Yes, I agree.
I don't want to see Spider-Man deconstructed. And for anybody who's, it's such a great movie, Into Spider-Man, such a great movie. Bullshit. You humiliated Peter Parker. Okay? That's the other thing. And the other thing I always point to is, and Tom knows I brought this up several times, the Frank Zappa music industry comparison. The guys that gave us Star Trek, Star Wars, the guys that gave us Marvel Comics weren't the hip, cool executives. They were the old guys with the suits, with cigars. And what did they say? They said, I don't know what this is. Take a chance on it. See if it sells. And then when it sells, they say, all right, I took a chance and it sold. Okay, I don't know what we did, but we need to do more of it. Get a hippie in here. So they bring in a hippie, and the hippie, they just trust him to get the mail, bring in the coffee. They said, all right, he's a good kid. He's brought the coffee in on time, didn't lose the mail. Let's give him a real job. We'll make him an AR man.
You know what, Rob? You are so right. That's why we have Conan today. That's seriously, that's how we got the Conan movie. You know how that happened? That was basically Stan Lee saying, you know, this whole sword and sorcery thing, I don't really get it. I don't understand it. But this Roy Thomas kid, this hippie, he gets it, and his Conan comic sells. So just go with it.
Same thing with Star Wars too. Yeah.
Alan Ladd Jr. said to George Lucas, "I don't get it. Listen, I don't get it. But you did American Graffiti. You seem like a good kid. Let's take a chance on you." But they said the hippie comes in, and the hippie starts saying, "Well, we can't take a chance on that because it's not what the audience wants, and I know." And what isn't that exactly what Alex Kurtzman's doing and what Ryan Johnson are doing?
Yeah, my God, the hippies growing up are the worst generation ever.
No, we can't have optimistic Star Trek. That's not what the audience wants, and I know. And I'm like, we got to get back to take a chance. Dude, fuck it, take a chance. We need to get back.
They're not taking chances anymore because they want to play it safe because of the money.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's why we get so many reboots, remakes, franchise revigorations, whatever you want to call them. We got a edgy number one sends in to Pound says, I became a mech engineer because of Star Trek. Yeah, a lot of people have done a lot of things, and this brings us back to what Tiberius had said before too, and I know Stephen wanted to address that as well. So if you want to take that real quick, Stephen, right now, I know we got to wrap this up. So
sure, absolutely. First off, I want to say thank you to the chat. I sold 6 audio books. Thank you very much. I appreciate that to everybody. I wanted to say to Tiberius, look, I was in a dark way in my life and was looking forward to a new Star Trek. I was a single dad. That kept me going. I had no support, and I was looking forward to a new Star Trek to give me the inspiration to get through the things I needed to get through. And that didn't happen. And then I was looking forward just shortly thereafter to The Last Jedi, to seeing Luke, to seeing some kind of inspiration in my modern mythologies. I understand what it's like to use these things, to use these mediums, these modern mythologies to give us inspiration, to get us through tough times. And I'm glad, brother, that was the case for you. My love to you. But I was in that dark way as well, and I didn't get that. I was told that I was a piece of crap. I was told that I was racist and sexist and all kinds of stuff because I had a problem with these people using these franchises to tell me this. And it was the fandom menace. It was these people up on this panel. It was every one of you in the chat, people that said hi to me, people that kept me going, people that commiserated with me. It was you guys that helped save my life. And I just wanted to say thank you very much. And that was about it. Hail Tiberius. I'm glad that you're in a better space now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well said.
And then Slithering Peanut, I just want to address this one real quick. He says, hold on a tick. The reason Hollywood is about remakes and reboots is because it sells. The audience only wants remakes and reboots. Otherwise, Hollywood wouldn't do it. That is not true. The audience doesn't want that, though.
Absolutely something to it.
There is to a point, but if that was the case...
It's not only the case, but there's something to it. Because if you look at what kind of movies get the attention and everything like that, like, for instance, Hollywood, they do put out original movies from time to time. It happens. And you know what happens most of the time? Unless that movie has Chris Nolan attached or something like that, it gets completely bypassed most of the time. Whereas if it's a remake or some tested property, that's when it gets attention and stuff like that. So the audience get some blame for that.
It's never great attention, though. Like, most remakes get the most horrid attention. They never get...
ignore remakes, but reboots them.
Yeah,
like
reboots
and
that's a little different. Like, you're talking two different sides of the coin here. But they keep using remakes because the difference was back in the day, all the remakes that were good and actually went somewhere were of movies that had either not lived up to their potential to begin with, or were pretty much out of the consciousness of the... Like, most people don't realize Scarface. Yeah, another great example. Most people don't realize Scarface or Gone in 60 Seconds are remakes. Like, they just don't realize, oh, there is one? Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I knew Gone in 60 Seconds was. I didn't know about Scarface, though.
Yeah, but see, like, there's tons of movies like that. For every one of those back in the day we had, now we get every single one of them is a Ghostbusters or a Point Break or something that was a hit. That there was nothing wrong with the original, and not only that, we've grown up in the age of video where people have been able to, relive these movies over and over and over again, whereas opposed to when Kong came out in 76, it had been, two generations since the first film had been out, and it had only been on TV maybe a handful of times, if that, and only re-released like twice since then. So nobody had really seen the original one when that came out.
Yeah, but there's also enough time period between when the original came out.
That's
and
what
when,
I'm saying.
Yeah.
As opposed to now, to where it's like Point Break wasn't even like 20 years old, was it? Barely when the remake
Same thing with
came out?
RoboCop.
Yeah,
Early
RoboCop's
90s.
another great example of why are we getting a RoboCop already?
Yeah.
If any, that was so stupid, and none of these remakes ever make
And
any
they
money.
spent 10 years on it. Like they wanted to have that for you, like in the mid 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's a little different than picking up something like Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars, like I can see that, but all these Total Recall is another one. Yeah, I mean, The Fly was a remake, but most people knew it was a remake. But the way Cronenberg did it was so different
Yeah.
that
Fly-
it's
Something different.
Help me! Help me!
The Vincent Price Fly compared to Lynch's Fly is like the only thing they really share in common is the name and the concept, and I mean loosely the concept.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dukect, I hope I'm saying that right, or Duke CT, $10. The reason why seeing all these repeat stories is basically narcissism and nihilism and are ruling the roost, and we need more positivity, but powers that be don't see any money in that. Yeah, that is true, I think. And not only that, Script Doctor, who's unable to join us because he's at work right now, he'll back me up on this one. A lot of it's the younger writers coming in. They just don't understand. They don't understand plot, character, all this stuff, so they just need something that's easy that they can copy and paste. Look at what happened with Game of Thrones. The moment Benioff and Weiss ran out of fucking source material to work from, it went completely off the rails.
Tom, what was the thing we kept hearing about Star Trek Discovery? That's all you said about Game of Thrones. What did it keep saying it was going to be? Game of Thrones in space. Remember?
That's what they kept saying, yeah. And Andre, I mean, I'm sure you can kind of finish up on that so we can take this away anyway. I know we gotta get out of here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I gotta bail soon.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is indeed the thing. It was supposed to be Game of Thrones in space, and of course, then Game of Thrones became something of a joke because Benioff and Weiss couldn't hack it. It was really that simple. And with that, Tom, are we all caught up on super chats?
I believe we are, and a few people brought up The Thing, and that's another great example because it was a remake of The Thing from Another World or whatever the hell the original one.
And that is a great movie.
But it was more of
a great remake.
I was going to say it's not so much
Absolutely.
of a remake as it is a readaptation. See, a lot of people mix readaptation and remake up. Like if something's a book and had been adapted a couple different times, like that's Dune. Dune is going to be a readaptation with a lot of inspiration from David Lynch's Dune, but they can't use things that are specific to Lynch's Dune. They have to draw from the book. So.
Yeah, and if you like, for instance, to go and look at The Wizard of Oz, the one that you all grew up with, the classic. That's the 9th version. Seriously, there were like 8 before.
Yeah.
Tom, you brought up I Am Legend before. That is like the 5th or 4th or 5th.
Oh God, at least.
Oh, Mega Man.
Man, The Last Man on Earth. Speaking of Vincent Price, and I think there was another one too somewhere in there, like a TV movie or something like that at some point.
Oh, there's been so many, and that's just
in the United States. Yeah, I was just
exactly. If you take all the pirate versions from around the world, you're gonna get out of count pretty quickly.
And I'm not adverse to remakes. I don't have a problem, but like me, it's like take something that like one we normally hit on right away, even though they've talked about doing I'm just as fine with a sequel, but I think is ripe for a remake and would do brilliant as a remake or as a movie or series would be The Last Starfighter.
Yeah, exactly. Take the ones that or The Black Hole.
Or The Black Hole, movies that didn't live up to their potential in the first place.
Yeah, or one of my preferred favorites. Where's my Project Shadow Chaser remake?
I think that's one thing.
We're getting really obscure now, but like that's fit for a remake. Like that's so obscure, and it's a great concept that wasn't good enough done. So yeah, bring that on.
No, instead we're getting our 4th remake of Black Christmas, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. But that's the thing. I mean, talk about taking a movie that didn't live up to its potential and remaking it. I'm all for that. I mean, because that's something that needs to be improved on. It's when they go and take a movie that doesn't need to be improved on and they remake it, like The Princess Bride. That movie does not need to be remade.
Yes,
no,
agreed.
No, I said there was an easy way to make a sequel and they're screwing it up.
Yeah.
And Tron's another great example, even though the sequel didn't really live up to. But I think that was the timing and a lot of other factors involved. So, but we really do got to wrap this up, guys. Check out Comics Division's channel. Check out Bounding into Comics, not only the website, but the channel as well. Check out author Stephen Walton's channel and his audiobook and book on the Fandom Menace Volume 1. And, of course, check out all our videos here on Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark, where we're going to be dropping a lot more of those tributes to our favorite boneheads in cinema. But I'm going to be heading over to a 1988 stream where we're going to talk about our favorite movies in 1988. I'll drop the link for that in the chat for everybody if you want to join us over there. Otherwise, I don't know if anybody else has anything going on they want to plug real quick before we go.
No, I got the Rogue Entertainment coming up in about 5 hours on my channel. Thanks a lot. And subscribe to Script Doctor.
Yep.
All right. Yes. Do check out Script Doctor as well.
He's awesome.
Our fifth Beatle.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything else, Andre, before we go?
No, I just want to say thanks to everyone in the panel for joining us. Always appreciated. And also especially thanks to everyone who joined us in the chat. We couldn't do this without you. So thanks so much for watching.
Thank you so much. And for all the super chats, especially, because I'm sure this will be demonetized. So I'm going to leave us out with our Kurtzman Bonehead video one more time. Thanks, everybody, and good night.
Midnight's Edge presents Real Boneheads of Cinema.
Real boneheads of cinema.
Today we salute you, Alex Kurtzman.
You cultural fucking locust.
You've taken a beloved 50-year-old science fiction franchise and completely destroyed it.
Oh, it didn't live long and prosper.
Likeable characters? Who needs them when we've got Mikey Spock?
She's just a plank of wood.
So pour a cold beer and celebrate a special kind of stupidity that ruins Star Trek forever.
How's the Dark Universe going?
How does sonar and space work? If I know, as long as it sounds good, who cares?
You idiot, there's no sound in space.
That $25 million CBS contract sure is getting its money's worth, isn't it?
Oh, how you got ripped off.
We salute you, Alex Kurtzman, because failing upward is still a thing in Hollywood.
She a fucking hubris.